If I told you that the strength of your muscles could predict the strength of your erections, you might be surprised, maybe even skeptical. After all, most people think of sexual health as something controlled by hormones, mood, or blood flow alone. But the truth is, your muscular health, the amount and quality of your lean muscle, is a powerful indicator of how well your body performs both in daily life and in the bedroom. In fact, emerging research shows that the state of your muscles may actually predict your sexual performance, and it's giving us new insights into how deeply interconnected physical strength and sexual vitality really are. A recent 2024 study brought this relationship into sharp focus. Researchers analyzed data from more than 200 men between the ages of 48 and 75 across several Nordic and Baltic countries, examining a wide range of health and lifestyle factors, from body mass index, a BMI of an age, to smoking, diabetes, and high blood pressure. Unsurprisingly, they found that being overweight, getting older, and living with chronic conditions such as diabetes or hypertension all increased the likelihood of sexual difficulties. These included erectile dysfunction, ED, reduced sexual desire, and the loss of morning erections, a subtle but important marker of vascular and hormonal health. For every additional year of age, the risk of sexual problems rose by about 7 to 8%. And for each point of BMI increase, that's roughly 5 to 7 pounds for most men, the odds climbed another 3 to 5%. These numbers tell a familiar story. As metabolic and cardiovascular health decline, sexual performance tends to follow. But the study uncovered something even more striking, something that often flies under the radar. Men who maintained their muscular strength as they aged were 60 to 65% less likely to experience issues with sexual desire, erection quality, or morning erections compared to men who reported noticeable muscle loss. That's not a small difference. It's transformative, and it raises an important question. Why would muscle strength have anything to do with sexual function? It turns out muscle isn't just for looks or athletic performance. Your skeletal muscles, the ones you use to move, lift, and stabilize, are actually endocrine organs in their own right. That means they communicate with other parts of the body by releasing special proteins called myokines, which influence everything from how you process glucose and insulin to how your body stores fat and regulates inflammation. In other words, your muscles are constantly sending chemical messages that help keep your metabolism and blood vessels, including those in your genitals, working efficiently. Healthy blood vessels are the unsung heroes of sexual function. Erections depend on proper blood flow to the penis, and anything that impairs vascular health, from diabetes to high cholesterol to inactivity, can make it more difficult to achieve or maintain one. By improving muscle mass, you enhance your body's ability to maintain healthy blood vessel function and reduce systemic inflammation, which protects against many of the same risk factors that lead to erectile dysfunction. Strong muscles, in essence, support strong circulation. There's also an important hormonal connection. Muscle mass is closely linked to testosterone levels, the hormone most associated with libido, confidence, and energy. As men age, testosterone naturally declines, but maintaining muscle through regular resistance training can help buffer that loss. Even when researchers accounted for low testosterone symptoms, they found that muscle strength independently predicted better sexual function, meaning it wasn't just the hormones doing the work. The muscles themselves seem to play a protective role. One of the more fascinating findings, even for many urologists, involves nitric oxide, a molecule that acts as the ignition switch for erections. Nitric oxide triggers the relaxation of blood vessels in the penis, allowing them to fill with blood and create an erection. Studies now suggest that muscle strength may be tied to nitric oxide production. The stronger your muscles, the more effectively your body can produce this critical molecule, and the better your erectile response is likely to be. If that sounds remarkable, it's because it is. But it's also consistent with what we know about the body as an integrated system. Nothing works in isolation, not your heart, not your metabolism, and certainly not your sexual organs. Everything is connected through circulation, hormones, and cellular communication. So when your muscles are strong and active, they help maintain the entire network that supports healthy sexual function. A broader review of 32 studies, led by two physicians I deeply respect, Dr. Gabrielle Lyon and Dr. Mohit Kara, confirmed this connection across multiple populations. Their findings showed that older men with lower muscle mass had dramatically higher rates of erectile dysfunction. In their 70s, over half of the men with low muscle mass, about 52%, reported ED, compared to just 32% of those with normal muscle mass. Those with less muscle were also twice as likely to experience severe erectile dysfunction, the kind that doesn't respond well to medications and often requires more advanced treatments. It's easy to dismiss statistics until you realize what they represent in real-life men losing not just sexual function, but confidence, intimacy, and quality of life, all because of something as preventable as muscle loss. On average, men lose about 7 to 10% of their muscle mass every decade after age 30. That decline accelerates if you're sedentary, undernourished, or dealing with chronic illness. But the encouraging news is that it's not irreversible. You can build strength at any age, and doing so may profoundly affect how you feel, both physically and sexually. In the next chapter, we'll dive deeper into the fascinating biology behind this link, how muscle mass protects vascular health, what the science says about nitric oxide and testosterone, and how something as simple as grip strength might be an early warning sign of your sexual health. The goal isn't just to understand the why, but to use that knowledge to take charge of your health in a tangible, empowering way. Because as the research makes clear, your muscle health isn't just about looking strong, it's about living strong, loving strong, and aging with vitality from the inside out. When I talk to my patients about erectile dysfunction or changes in sexual performance, I often remind them that the body is an ecosystem, not a collection of separate parts. Your heart, muscles, hormones, and even your blood vessels all communicate constantly, and when one part of that system falters, others feel the impact. The fascinating part is that muscle health sits right at the center of this network, influencing many of the same pathways that are critical for sexual function. Once you understand how that works, it becomes clear why something as seemingly unrelated as muscle strength could predict what happens in the bedroom. Let's start with blood flow, because every healthy erection begins with healthy circulation. When you become aroused, your brain sends signals down the spinal cord that cause blood vessels in the penis to relax and widen, allowing blood to flow in and fill the erectile tissue. This process depends heavily on nitric oxide, a gas molecule your body naturally produces. Think of nitric oxide as the on switch for erections. Without it, blood can't flow freely and the process stalls before it starts. Now, here's where muscle comes in. Skeletal muscle helps produce and regulate nitric oxide through several mechanisms. Active muscles improve endothelial function. That's the health of the inner lining of your blood vessels, and stimulate enzymes that increase nitric oxide availability. In simpler terms, stronger, healthier muscles mean your blood vessels stay more responsive and flexible, and that responsiveness is crucial for sexual performance. This is why even a modest increase in physical activity, like strength training twice a week, can improve both cardiovascular and erectile health. Several studies have confirmed this. In one large analysis of more than 4,000 men over the age of 40, those who engaged in muscle strengthening activities were 33% less likely to experience erectile dysfunction compared to those who didn't. That's a powerful statistic, and it reinforces the idea that the gym doesn't just shape your body, it supports your vascular system and, by extension, your sexual vitality. Another fascinating measure researchers have used is hand grip strength, which acts as a quick, reliable proxy for overall muscle strength. In multiple studies, stronger hand grip strength was linked to better erectile function. In fact, for every 5-kilogram increase in grip strength, the odds of erectile dysfunction decreased by about 42%. What's even more interesting is that this relationship held true even for men with chronic conditions like diabetes or metabolic syndrome, two well-known risk factors for ED. In other words, maintaining muscle strength could partially offset the risks that come with these health issues. To understand why, let's look beneath the surface. Muscle tissue is metabolically active, meaning it burns energy even when you're at rest. The more muscle you have, the better your body manages blood sugar and insulin, and the less likely you are to develop insulin resistance, one of the key culprits behind vascular damage. Poor glucose control and insulin resistance can impair nitric oxide production and stiffen blood vessels, making it more difficult to achieve or maintain an erection. By supporting metabolic health, muscle acts as a natural protector against those effects. Another key player here is inflammation. Chronic low-grade inflammation, often caused by poor diet, stress, inactivity, or obesity, can quietly damage the inner lining of your arteries, the very same arteries that deliver blood to the penis. Over time, this damage leads to narrowing and decreased elasticity, which can manifest first as subtle changes in erection quality before progressing into more noticeable erectile dysfunction. When you build and maintain muscle, you reduce systemic inflammation and support better immune balance throughout the body. Now let's talk hormones, specifically testosterone, the hormone most people immediately associate with libido and sexual function. Testosterone is essential for maintaining muscle mass, bone density, and mood, but it also supports erectile physiology by influencing nitric oxide production and blood vessel dilation. The relationship goes both ways. When you lose muscle mass, your testosterone levels tend to drop. When you build muscle, testosterone rises. This feedback loop means that maintaining strength isn't just about preserving physical function, it's about protecting hormonal balance. Interestingly, even when studies controlled for testosterone levels, muscle strength still independently predicted sexual function. That suggests that muscle does more than just mirror hormonal health. It actively supports it. Regular strength training boosts enzymes involved in testosterone synthesis and helps the body use existing testosterone more efficiently. For men experiencing mild symptoms of low testosterone, such as fatigue, low mood, or decreased libido, resistance training can often provide noticeable improvement without the need for medication. There's another angle to this conversation that doesn't get enough attention: aging and muscle loss, or what's called sarcopenia. Starting as early as your 30s, most men begin losing 3–5% of their muscle mass per decade, and that rate accelerates after age 50. It's a silent process. You might not notice it until it starts affecting your strength, posture, or stamina. But beneath the surface, sarcopenia is also quietly impacting your vascular and hormonal health. Less muscle means higher fat accumulation, particularly visceral fat, the kind that surrounds your organs, which produces inflammatory chemicals that can lower testosterone and further harm blood vessel function. Think of muscle as a powerful counterbalance to this cascade. Every time you lift a weight, climb stairs, or do a resistance exercise, you're sending a signal to your body that says, "Stay young." Those signals keep your metabolism active, your blood vessels flexible, and your hormone levels steadier. That's why men who remain physically strong into their later years often maintain not just better physical health, but better sexual function, confidence, and quality of life. It's also worth mentioning that muscle strength influences how your body responds to erectile dysfunction treatments. Medications like sildenafil Viagra and Tadalafil Cialis work by enhancing nitric oxide pathways. If your baseline nitric oxide production is already low because of poor muscle health or vascular dysfunction, these drugs may not work as effectively. In contrast, men who stay active and maintain muscle tend to respond better to these treatments because their bodies are already primed for optimal blood flow. So when we look at the big picture, the message becomes clear. Erectile function isn't just about what happens down there. It's about how well your entire body is functioning: your blood vessels, your hormones, your muscles, and even your metabolism. The penis, in many ways, is a barometer for overall health. When things aren't working properly in the bedroom, it's often an early signal that something deeper, cardiovascular disease, diabetes, or metabolic dysfunction, needs attention. And that's where muscle becomes both a diagnostic clue and a therapeutic tool. If you notice you're losing strength, whether it's struggling to lift groceries, feeling weaker in the gym, or seeing fewer morning erections, it might be time to take a closer look at your overall health. The beauty of this connection is that it empowers you to take action. You can build muscle, you can strengthen your vascular system, and in doing so, you can often restore not just sexual function, but the sense of vitality and confidence that comes with it. In the final chapter, we'll talk about how to put all this science into action. I'll share practical evidence-based steps you can take to build muscle safely, protect your sexual health, and use your strength as a powerful predictor of wellness, because as I often tell my patients, it's never too late to get stronger, and it's never too early to start. By now, the science paints a clear picture. Your muscular health doesn't just shape your body, it shapes your vitality, confidence, and even your intimate relationships. But what's most empowering about this connection is that muscle strength is modifiable. You can take real, tangible steps to improve it, no matter your age or current fitness level. I see this every day in my practice. Men who start prioritizing strength not only regain energy and endurance, but also notice profound improvements in sexual health, mood, and self-esteem. The first step is awareness. Many men don't realize they've been slowly losing muscle until it starts affecting their performance, whether that's in the gym, at work, or in the bedroom. On average, men lose about 7 to 10% of their muscle mass every decade after 30, and this rate can double after 50 if no resistance training or adequate protein intake is in place. That gradual loss, called sarcopenia, is often accompanied by increased fat storage, especially around the midsection, and a decline in hormones like testosterone and growth hormone. These changes can make you feel tired, sluggish, and less interested in sex, but they're not an inevitable part of aging. They're signals that your body needs a tune up. One of the easiest ways to assess your muscular health is with hand grip strength, which research consistently shows to be a reliable predictor of overall strength and even longevity. For men in their 40s, a normal grip strength typically ranges from 45 to 47 kilograms out about 99 to 103 pounds. You can test this using a simple hand grip dynamometer, an inexpensive tool available online or in fitness stores. It's a quick, objective way to gauge where you stand and track your progress over time. If you notice your grip strength declining, that's a sign to start taking action before the downstream effects like changes in metabolism, endurance, or sexual performance become more noticeable. So how do you rebuild and maintain strength? The most effective strategy is resistance training, which includes activities that challenge your muscles against a force, whether that's free weights, resistance bands, bodyweight exercises, or even heavy yard work. Aim for 2 to 4 sessions per week, focusing on major muscle groups like the legs, chest, back, and core. The key isn't lifting the heaviest weight possible, but training consistently and progressively. Over time, these exercises stimulate muscle growth, enhance blood flow, and improve the body's sensitivity to insulin, all of which contribute to better vascular and sexual health. If you're new to resistance training, start simple. Squats, push-ups, planks, and light dumbbell lifts are excellent foundational movements. As your strength builds, gradually increase your resistance or repetitions. What matters most is not perfection, but progression, the steady improvement that signals your muscles and your cardiovascular system are adapting. And remember, exercise doesn't just build muscle, it builds confidence. That renewed sense of capability often translates into a stronger sense of presence and self-assurance in all areas of life, including intimacy. Of course, strength training is only one part of the equation. Nutrition plays an equally vital role. Your muscles need fuel to grow, repair, and maintain themselves. Prioritize protein, the building block of muscle tissue. For most men, that means aiming for roughly 1.2 to 1.6 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight per day, depending on activity level. Focus on lean sources such as fish, chicken, eggs, low-fat dairy, beans, lentils, and plant-based proteins like tofu or tempeh. Distributing your protein intake evenly throughout the day, rather than saving it all for dinner, can help optimize muscle synthesis. Beyond protein, don't underestimate the power of micronutrients. Vitamins D, B12, zinc, and magnesium all play roles in hormone regulation and muscle function. Zinc, for example, is crucial for testosterone production, while magnesium supports energy metabolism and muscle recovery. If your diet is limited or you follow certain dietary restrictions, you may benefit from having your nutrient levels checked by a healthcare professional. Another often overlooked factor is sleep. Muscle recovery, hormone balance, and sexual function all depend heavily on restorative sleep. During deep sleep, your body releases growth hormone and testosterone, both essential for muscle repair and libido. Chronic sleep deprivation can disrupt these hormones, elevate stress levels, and blunt the body's ability to respond to exercise. Aim for at least 7 to 8 hours of quality sleep each night. And if you snore, feel excessively tired, or wake up frequently, talk to your doctor about screening for sleep apnea, which can also contribute to erectile dysfunction. Equally important is managing stress. High levels of cortisol, the body's primary stress hormone, can interfere with testosterone production, increase fat storage, and even constrict blood vessels, making it harder to maintain erections. Incorporating relaxation techniques like deep breathing, meditation, or even a daily walk outdoors can lower cortisol and support better vascular health. Exercise itself is one of the most powerful stress relievers available. It not only burns off physical tension, but triggers endorphins that improve mood and motivation. As you integrate these habits, it's essential to maintain a long-term perspective. Building strength and improving sexual health are gradual processes. They don't happen overnight, but the changes you'll notice along the way often go beyond the physical. Many men tell me that after a few months of regular strength training, they feel more energetic, sleep better, and feel mentally sharper. Their confidence returns, not just in the gym or the bedroom, but in everyday interactions. That's the real power of taking charge of your health. It ripples into every corner of your life. If you're dealing with erectile dysfunction or concerns about sexual performance, don't hesitate to talk to your healthcare provider. These conversations can feel vulnerable, but they're crucial. ED is not just a bedroom problem. It's often a circulatory health problem. Identifying it early can sometimes reveal underlying conditions like diabetes, hypertension, or heart disease, allowing you to treat those issues before they cause more serious complications. In many cases, improving muscle mass, diet, and lifestyle habits can make a measurable difference even without medication. And if you do need medical treatment, Combining it with these foundational habits will almost always lead to better outcomes. Ultimately, taking care of your muscular health is an act of self-respect. It's not about chasing perfection or comparing yourself to others. It's about protecting your vitality, your independence, and your ability to show up fully in every part of your life. Your muscles are not just tools for movement, they're messengers of longevity, health, and passion. When they're strong, the rest of your body tends to follow. So whether you're 35 or 75, it's never too late to start. Pick up those weights, go for that walk, cook that high protein meal, and know that every small step you take strengthens not just your body, but your future. Because taking care of yourself isn't vanity, it's longevity. And when you invest in your health today, you're investing in a more confident, energetic, and fulfilling tomorrow. Remember, your strength isn't just measured in how much you can lift, it's measured in how well you can live. And that truly is worth every effort.